The letter came on a Thursday morning. Thick, official-looking, stamped with the seal of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. To most people, it was just another piece of neighborhood bureaucracy. But for Malik Carter, that letter would be the start of a battle that exposed the hypocrisy, greed, and hidden reliance of a community that thought it could control him. The letter said one thing: immediate removal of unauthorized solar installations or face legal action. Malik stared at it in disbelief, because what they didn't know, what no one knew, was that for 3 years, the lights lining their peaceful suburban streets, the ones they brag about at every HOA meeting, were powered by the very solar grid they were trying to shut down. Malik Carter wasn't your average homeowner. A 38-year-old renewable energy engineer and Navy veteran, he had built his dream home at the end of Maplewood Drive, a beautiful, eco-friendly structure powered entirely by solar energy. He'd even installed extra panels on his property to give back power to the grid. To him, it wasn't just technology, it was purpose. Growing up in Detroit, he'd seen families struggle with power outages, kids doing homework by candlelight. Malik had sworn that one day he'd make clean, affordable energy accessible for everyone. When he moved to Willow Creek, an upscale majority-white neighborhood outside Austin, he thought he'd found peace. He'd kept himself, paid his dues, waved politely at neighbors. But to some, his independence was a problem, especially to Cheryl Dawson, the HOA president. Cheryl was the kind of woman who believed rules were made for order, but often forgot they were also made for fairness. She'd been quietly annoyed by Malik since he moved in, his Tesla parked in the driveway, his yard filled with garden tech gadgets, and those gleaming solar panels reflecting sunlight like a badge of rebellion. At the last HOA meeting, she'd made her move. "It's just they're an eyesore," Cheryl said, her voice dripping with politeness. "This isn't some science park. It's a community with standards." The board nodded. The motion passed, and Malik's notice was sent. When Malik received the letter, he didn't respond with anger. He responded with precision. He reviewed every HOA bylaw, every city ordinance, every energy regulation in the county, and nowhere did it say he needed their approval for solar energy on private property. He decided to pay Cheryl a visit. When she opened the door, she smiled, but her eyes were cold. "Ah, Mr. Carter, I was expecting you." "I'm sure you were," Malik replied calmly. "Mind explaining why you're threatening to sue me for following federal energy law?" Her smirk didn't fade. "You may think you're above the rules, but we have an aesthetic code. Those panels break the visual harmony of our neighborhood." Malik chuckled. "Visual harmony? I'm keeping lights on for your street every night. You're welcome, by the way." Cheryl frowned. "What do you mean?" But Malik didn't answer. He just smiled. "You'll find out soon enough." He walked away, leaving her standing there confused and slightly uneasy. 2 weeks later, the HOA followed through on their threat. They sent code inspectors to Malik's home, claimed zoning violations, and even tried to fine him $200 per day for noncompliance. The community started whispering. Some neighbors supported Malik. Others stayed silent, too afraid of the HOA's power. But then came the night of the blackout. It was a Friday. A storm swept through town, lightning crashing, transformers popping. By midnight, the entire Willow Creek neighborhood went dark. Every house, every streetlight, except one. Malik's house glowed like a beacon. From his porch, he watched his family stumble outside, flashlights in hand, confused. Then one by one, the streetlights along Maplewood Drive flickered back on, powered by the backup solar grid Malik had quietly wired to the HOA's lighting system months earlier as a community contribution. Neighbors gasped. Cheryl stared out her window, realizing what was happening. The lights everyone took for granted, the ones she boasted about in HOA newsletters, were running on his energy. By dawn, word had spread. The same man they tried to find had just kept their streets safe. The next HOA meeting was packed. Cameras, reporters, neighbors who'd never attended before. Cheryl sat at the front, tight-lipped, while Malik calmly stood at the podium. "For years," he began, "I've been donating surplus energy from my solar system to keep your streetlights running for free. No charge, no credit. Just community service. Gasps filled the room. He held up a binder filled with documentation. Energy audits, emails to the city, proof of compliance. You try to shut me down over appearances, he said, voice steady. But sometimes, what looks different is what's been holding you up the whole time. Someone in the crowd clapped. Then another. Soon the entire room stood to applaud, except Cheryl, who lowered her head, humiliated. The board voted unanimously to revoke all penalties and revise the bylaws to support renewable energy initiatives. Malik didn't gloat. He just smiled. As he walked out, an elderly neighbor approached him with tears in her eyes. We judge you without knowing you. Thank you for lighting our way. He nodded. That's all I ever wanted to do. Months later, Willow Creek became the first HOA in Texas to adopt a green energy initiative, led by Malik himself. The same neighborhood that once mocked his solar panels now invited him to teach others how to install theirs. And every evening as the sun set, the lights along Maplewood Drive still flickered on, powered by the same panels that had once caused so much division. But now, every glow carried a message. Real power doesn't come from control. It comes from contribution.